Mike Clay's wide receiver quarterback matchups. In-depth analytics with explosions.
That is right. Mike Clay back again. I'm laughing too hard at that dumb
Gets me every
intro.
time. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
All right, you write our wide receiver quarterback matchup column every week for ESPN.com. You've got our best and worst for week 5, so take us through it. And let's start with Dez.
We'll start with Dez Bryant, and this is not a mistake. He actually gets an upgrade this week.
There you
once,
go. He's
right?
always on the negative side of it. Finally, a positive matchup for Dez Bryant.
Yeah, not this week. He'll go up against the rookie Kevin King, primarily second-round pick this year. He's been picked on quite a bit so far, but the Packers pretty much all across the board at corner have problems. Demarius Randall on the other side, Josh Hawkins on the other side. They have Morgan Burnett. I mean, he's playing linebacker, safety, corner. I think he's a water boy now. He's covering the slot now. Dez will be in there about a quarter of the time this season. So Bryant, for once again, a big upgrade, DFS, season long. I mean, you love him in all areas this week.
Yeah, so maybe against the Packers, finally, it will be
Yeah.
a catch. All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. There hasn't been a lot of positive news for Dolphins and fantasy owners of Miami players, but we like Devante Parker this weekend, huh?
We do, and Kenny Stills as well this applies to. They're going to be up on the perimeter. That's primarily where they line up in this offense. They'll see another rookie, Adoree Jackson. He's allowed the 8th most fantasy points among cornerbacks this season. LaShawn Sims, Bryce McCain, who was the slot man last year, he's on the outside. Logan Ryan, who came over from New England, he's allowed a ton of fantasy points in the slot, 3 touchdowns,
Yeah, he has.
in fact. So big upgrade for this Dolphins passing game at home. For once, we like these guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Landry obviously will have a nice game here as well.
He'll get Ryan, right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, for some guys that maybe don't have the best matchups, let's start with Alshon Jeffery. He is this week's winner of Who Gets Patrick Peterson, am I right?
Exactly. It's like every week we have a block just for Peterson.
Of course.
Again, he primarily covers the perimeter. He's a shadow. He shadowed each of the first 4 weeks of the season. Alshon is lined up, as you can see here, on the outside in 86% of his routes. Guarantees that on 80, 90% of his routes, Peterson will have him. So, here's the question. Do you bench Jeffery? There's 4 teams on a bye. Could you bench him in this matchup?
You tell me. You benching him?
It's close. I think because of the bye weeks, he's in the flex, but you have to downgrade him significantly. And by the way, if you're looking for a sneaky guy off waivers, Torrey Smith will get Justin Bethel on the perimeter. He gets a nice
You always
upgrade.
like the other guy opposite. They're
Yes,
going to take
yes.
shots. Carson Wentz is actually going to take shots. I have Alshon Jeffery as a wide receiver 3 this week. So, yeah, depending on who you have, there's a chance he's on your bench, at least according to my ranks as well. All right, and now let's talk about Pittsburgh. We saw Antonio Brown get very upset last weekend. Now they're back home where the Steelers are usually very, very good. You're not feeling it?
Well, it's the defense here.
Right.
I mean, the Jags have been so good against the pass. In fact, they've allowed the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers so far. And Antonio Brown, 80+% of the time he's on the perimeter. Martavis Bryant, same kind of thing. Those guys will be on A.J. Boye and Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if they'll shadow Matthew, but they'll be on these guys throughout the game. So I'd say DFS cash games, you're going to avoid Antonio Brown and Bryant this week.
Right.
In season long, Bryant probably best on your bench. Brown, you obviously have to start, but the matchup is tough.
I will say I do think, and I've talked about this before, I do think the Jaguars have beaten up a little bit on subpar Converse. Not that they aren't real, but you know what? The Jets, like Tom Savage in week 1, they haven't played like a ton of like great, then the Baltimore over in London, and the Ravens offense is a little bit of a mess. So I want to see that if the Jaguars go into Pittsburgh and shut down Ben Roethlisberger on the road, then I'll be very impressed. I think you're obviously season long. You're still starting Antonio Brown, though, right? Of course,
we'll definitely learn a lot about them this week. For
no
sure.
question about it. Thank you, Mike Clay.